All right, welcome back, YouTube. So this past week has been extremely busy, okay? So I did a lot of work here trying to look at most of the relevant grind spots and essentially doing 1 hour with Agris and then 1 hour without Agris. And I think that's important to compare the two, right? Especially with them stating that a lot of the spots are mostly Agris efficient, which, spoiler alert, for the kind of the lower tier grind spots, it's really not all that efficient. I mean, you could burn through 20k in like 15 to 30 minutes. So you don't even really get a full hour of Agris at these early grind spots. However, the mid-game or in-game grind spots, they definitely are a lot more efficient. But yeah, I essentially did 1 hour at each spot, and you can kind of see the numbers here. And I might make this spreadsheet available to the public, so just kind of let me know if you would like access to this. But I pretty much put the trash loot price in each spot, and then I inputted my trash an hour with Agris and then trash an hour without Agris. And then you can kind of see here, so I kind of separated it. So I did silver an hour, trash only with Agris, and then without Agris. And then this section here where it says silver an hour, both with Agris, no Agris. This is looking at the trash loot in addition to the drops. Okay. And for the most part, my drop rate percentage was kind of in like the 150 to 180%. So that's kind of where these numbers are sitting at. So obviously, if your drop rate percent is a lot more, these numbers are going to be a lot more. All right. But you can kind of see here that I pretty much did the specific AP recommendation all the way from 200 all the way down to 1600. Now I will say I did have a little bit of help from other people, because obviously I wouldn't be able to do an hour with Agris for every single spot. So I did have a little bit of help, and hopefully most of these numbers that I inputted are pretty accurate. I tried to like double, triple check as much as I could with my numbers into the chart. So if you see anything that might be looking a little bit weird or out of place, just let me know. I can fix it. But yeah, this was a lot of work, took a lot of effort, but I think it's really important to kind of see how much you can make in an hour with Agris compared to without Agris. Because I think for the most part, people who only grind 1 hour a day is not going to be extremely affected by the new patch that released last week in terms of kind of just money per hour. So I kind of separated it here with best total silver with and without Agris. Also, I did also do like a ranking here as well. So you can kind of see, which it should be down here at the bottom, like what's the best spot in terms of just getting trash only with Agris, and it kind of just compares these and ranks them. But let's take a look here at this one, because I think this one's really important. All right, so I kind of broke it down, and you can see here, right, level 2 loot scroll with Agris. 1 hour was performed for each spot, and that includes the trash loot and the rare drops. So this is looking at pretty much everything. Like what are you going to make in 1 hour at this spot, including the trash and the drops. All right. So if we look at the spots under 600 AP, you can see that I put number 1 here as Bloodwolf Settlement, and silver with Agris is 727 million. Silver with no Agris is 696 million. All right. So, and these numbers are going to be affected by the drops, but I feel like that's still not too bad, considering obviously with Bloodwolf Settlement, the one drop that you can get is, I can't think of the name of the item, but essentially you can make a crystal and then you can sell that on the market. I think it's just like with a K or something like that. But really solid spot, especially for like early game. And you also get access to being able to make your infinite potion pieces. Next here we have Centaurs, which really hasn't changed all that much post-patch. So this spot's always been really good with Agris. It still obviously is, right? 712 mil. Obviously, when you don't have Agris, it's not as good, which again, that was like that as well before the patch. This one here, so Shurgon, so this spot, so a lot of these numbers with Agris is equated with 20k Agris. All right. So if you had more than 20k Agris, you would probably get more silver per hour with Agris. All right. But Shurgon really, really blows through your Agris. Like I wrote it down somewhere in my spreadsheet or in my Google Doc, but it goes really quickly. And actually a lot of these spots will drain your Agris pretty quickly. So these numbers are pretty much only for 20k Agris used. Next one here, so Pollys Forest. So I think Pollys Forest or Bandits is a really good spot to go to as a new player, right? I think Pollys Forest is probably one of the best spots anyway for a new player because you're going to get Antis Elements, which allows you to work on your infinite potion pieces. And that money per hour kind of includes that as well. So when you're doing kind of Pollys Forest, you might have to look at like how much trash are you pulling here, right? So if we go to Pollys Forest, you can see like with Agris, you're going to make 270 million. And then without Agris, you can actually see there's not much of a difference because with Pollys Forest, it's not really all that Agris efficient. So you just blow through 20k in no time. And so that's why there's really no difference between the two. But yeah, I think overall as a new player, like starting out, you're probably going to be at Pollys Forest. And then you can see Bandits is a really another good spot as a new player. So that's kind of the spots under 600. Now, if we move to the next tier, so spots 600 to 900 AP, you can see that Elvia Orcs is number one when it comes with the silver per hour with Agris and without Agris. However, you can see here in my chart, I put Kratuga as number one. So the reason why I did that, even though it's technically maybe not as much as Orcs, is with the Elvia spots here, so Orcs, Rhutum, and Fogans, you're really, well, at least with Orcs and Fogans, you're really relying on the shards. And so really important for Orcs because these numbers are obviously pretty inflated because of the shards, right? And essentially, if you wanted to go that route, you would have, it's like a long-term investment, right? Because you have to get so many shards at different grind spots in order to make the cups, okay? And so that's why I put kind of Kratuga as my number one, is because you don't, like the silver per hour is more accurate because you don't have to do like an investment type of thing, right? So you don't have to worry about shards at this spot. And like if we go to back to the chart and we go to Orcs and then we look at the trash or silver an hour trash only, right? So it's 482 million. And then the rest of that, so probably, I don't know, 200, 300 million is coming from the shards. So you just have to keep in mind, if you're going to do the cups, that's perfectly fine. Then you can kind of include that. If we look at Kratuga here, right, we can see that the trash is 537 million, but it has also a lot of other drops too, like Kaffir stones, and you get artifacts, which you can process those down and get those specific kind of light stones where you can sell on the market. And yeah, so Kratuga, really, really good spot. Probably would be my number one in this AP range. Moving down, we have 900 to 1000. So this one might change once Honglim base is the HP for the mobs is changed next week. But I would say currently Jade Forest is a really, really solid spot. Like really, really good. And you can actually see here too the severity of with Agris versus without Agris. So this right here is a pretty big difference between the two. And the reason is because now these spots, like these mid game spots, are actually becoming more Agris efficient, right? So you can actually grind here for a full hour and use that full 20k Agris, and you'll see a pretty big difference with the silver. And yeah, so Jade Forest would probably kind of overtake Honglim at this moment, but we'll see next week kind of if that changes any. But I don't think you could go wrong with either spot. Obviously, if you need to make your new accessories and you need the Dawn in order to make the new accessories or to enhance the new accessories, then you probably want to go to Honglim base if you have that gear. Next one here, moving down. Now this is a lot. There is a lot of spots kind of in that 1000 to 1200 AP range. I was not actually really expecting to see this many grind spots. And we can see here, so this is post patch with Elvia Hex. Obviously last week Elvia Hex was pretty busted. So these numbers are reflecting after the patch. You can actually see it's still #1. Okay. And I would say it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun grind spot. If you don't really know the mechanics of this spot, I have a video that's still really relevant on this grinding spot, so I highly encourage you to check that out. But you can see here 1.89 billion, which, I mean, that's pretty good, right? When you don't have Agris, it's 1.2 billion. And we just kind of go down the list here. So in terms of like this range, I would say Elvia Hex is the best. Ash Forest, surprisingly, I feel like is better now. And you don't really have to worry about necessarily dying. So especially aesthetic wise, check out Ash Forest. Had a lot of fun with that spot, and it's just a cool looking area. And yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of these places are going to vary based on the market with the drops, like the Kaffir stones and whatnot, and also the accessories, right? So Ash Forest, you have that chance of the Deboreka necklace dropping. So obviously this can increase your silver per hour if you get a few of those drops. Same thing with the other Dehkia spots here. They also drop some of those Deboreka accessories. So if you get that, your silver per hour is going to increase. And yeah, crypto resting thoughts. Just stay away from that place. I must just be an absolute terrible grinder at this spot, but I just can't do it. Just can't do it. So this one's my least favorite, and you can clearly see it's last on my chart here. All right, moving forward. Spots 1200 to 1300 AP. So trolls, you know, a lot of people were upset about trolls kind of getting an AP increase. And you can actually see, you know, I think for the most part, I almost feel like Elvia Hex now kind of takes that troll spot. Whereas before, a lot of mid-game players were kind of stuck at trolls because you made a lot of money there. And it was super easy to grind for the most part. So obviously they increased the AP, and I mean, you're still getting really good money there, but I would almost argue that you're almost better staying at the other spots here in the 1000 to 1200 AP range. And City of the Dead, you can kind of clearly see the numbers just aren't that great here. Just, yeah, you know, you're sitting there waiting for the mobs to spawn. Not a really fun spot to go to. So, I mean, you could probably almost just skip the 1200 to 1300 AP range and probably just stay here at the 1000 to 1200 until you move up to the next tier, which is the 1300 to 1400 AP. And again, I mean, you know, these numbers are still kind of similar to these other spots, right? Um, Dehkia Ash Forest, super good, really good. And you can clearly see here the silver that I got was right at 2 billion, and silver with no Agris 1.5 billion. So, you know, if we compare that with the Elvia Hex, especially with no Agris, you know, you're getting like 400 million more when you don't have Agris. And again, you're kind of relying on the Deboreka necklace dropping here. So if you get that 1 or 2, you're balling. You're absolutely balling. I think the other spot too that I'm kind of torn, right? You could either do Dehkia Ash Forest or Tungrad Ruins. The thing with Dehkia Ash Forest is you gotta remember you have to spend extra money to keep your lantern full of fuel, right? So I didn't take account of my numbers with that, so you probably could subtract an extra, I don't know, 200 million from that, and it's probably going to be pretty similar to Tungrad Ruins. So yeah, you could do either or of these. Obviously, I think Dehkia Ash Forest has the potential to make you more silver due to the Deboreka necklace dropping. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with both of these spots. Dehkia Crescents, just stay away from that place. Like, it's way out in the desert. The one-shot mechanic is stupid. They really need to fix that. This actually, Dehkia Crescents, before they changed the mechanics at this spot, was my favorite. And once they updated it to pretty much have you kind of focus more on the grinding spot, and if you don't kill that one specific mob, then it'll just one-shot you, and it's just stupid. So high risk of you dying and breaking a crystal here at Dehkia Crescents. I would just avoid it. Dehkia Cadry, still a pretty good spot. Fairly chill for the most part. You know, I would probably say, you know, I probably should move this one to 4 and then move Cadry to 3. Because I would go to Cadry before I would go to Crescents, because it's a little bit more convenient and you shouldn't have to worry about like dying. So yeah, really good spots here. Moving down. So this is where we're kind of getting into the territory where I don't really have the AP to do these, so I had to rely on a few other people. Darkseekers Retreat, I would say, is probably the best spot still, and especially given the gear range. So, you know, if you're below kind of the 1500 range, you probably should still be at Darkseekers Retreat regardless. Okay, I think there's really no need for you to go to Elvia Hex or Tungrad Ruins, right? You probably should be at Darkseekers Retreat, because that's where you're going to make most of your money, especially when you have Agris. You can clearly see when you have Agris, pretty much 2.4 billion. Now, without Agris, that's where it may change, okay? And so that's why I think this is kind of important to look without Agris. You actually might be at more of a benefit to go to like Dehkia Ash Forest, because you can clearly see you're probably going to make 200-300 million more. Or even like Dehkia Cyclops, okay? Or maybe even Elvia Hex. So if you don't have Agris, I feel like you have a little bit more options to choose from. And it seems like probably the best spot would be the Dehkia Ash Forest, which when I went there, man, that place is crazy. Like, I mean, it was like full. I had to like change like four or 5 servers to find an open spot. I mean, that place was insane. Like, it was packed. So this whole like notion or belief on, oh yeah, you know, they're doing these AP ranges so other people aren't grinding at other grind spots, it kind of makes people kind of spread out. Yeah, no. Most people are at Ash Forest. I mean, it is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I mean, the numbers kind of show that. Unfortunately, I don't have Dehkia Ash Forest 2 or Dehkia 2. numbers, but I would probably say Dehkia Ash Force 2 is probably maybe the best currently grind spot that you can go to. And so I think that's probably why it's like super packed, is because that's like literally like one of the best spots. But again, unfortunately, I don't have those numbers. If I can get someone to do it for me, and yeah, that's reliable, maybe I'll put those numbers in here, but I just didn't have anyone to rely on. And obviously I don't have the gear to do it, but I do know it's like super cracked. Moving down, you have the Dehkia Forest. Now this spot right here is super chill, right? Like, you know, a lot of people would be at Honglim base because Dehkia Forest was not that great. I would say this place is a lot better now, and it's just super chill. The money per hour is really good. It's very chill. So, you know, if you want just more of like a chill grind spot, Netflix chill, you know, this is a really solid spot. And again, you're going to be getting those drops where you can process them down to make dons, dons of essence, which then you can use to enhance your accessories. And then the final kind of list here is the 1500 plus. Obviously, super, super good, right? So I don't know why I put unlucky here. I think it's just Golden Pig Cave. But yeah, I mean, silver with Agris, like, you're balling. It's like almost 3 billion for both of these. So you can't go wrong. Obviously, if you don't have Agris, you can clearly see that this one here is the winner. Golden Pig Cave is the winner. And it's actually the winner for, I believe, all of these, actually. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have no Agris and you have the gear, Golden Pig Cave is probably one of the best spots to go to. I don't know about Dehkia Forest 2, though. That's the only thing I'm not sure about. So I would say either Dehkia Forest 2 or Golden Pig Cave is probably the best spots in the game right now if you have the gear for it. So yeah, you know, I had a lot of fun making this spreadsheet. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of some insight in terms of like the best grind spots when you have Agris versus when you don't have Agris, because I think that's really important. I think that's extremely important, because a lot of people do grind for multiple hours a day, right? You know, a lot of people don't just grind for 1 hour. Now, granted, I only grind 1 hour a day, because if I do 2, I'm falling asleep, because obviously I'm in bed. But if you're grinding multiple hours a day, then I feel like this chart can be a benefit for you. So you can kind of just like maximize, like, okay, if I have the gear, then maybe I'm going to do Darkseekers Street with Agris, and then maybe I'm going to move to Dehkia Ash Forest when I don't have Agris. Okay, if you're trying to like min-max your numbers. But yeah, that's the spreadsheet. Here are all the kind of the numbers, the rankings. So like I said, I might make this public. Let me know if you would like to have access to this. I'm gonna try to play some kind of footage of all of the grind spots here in this chart, just to kind of give you an idea, especially if you're like maybe like a newer player, to kind of give you an idea of kind of the aesthetic of the place, the mobs of the place. So yeah, hope you enjoy that part of the video. But I really appreciate you stopping by, checking this out. I put a lot of effort and work into this, so hopefully this video kind of pays off with the amount of hours that I put into this. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
I was walking by myself one night, a darkness closed around me tight. A lonesome star up in the sky told me the only truth that doesn't lie. I watched my shadow lengthen long, heard the owl's warning song. A lonesome voice rang in my head, told me that this life is all we get. Ain't no way around it, it's one life and that's it. Ain't no way around it, it's one life and that's it. Told me the only truth that doesn't lie. She got her hair done for the weekend. She came to see her boyfriend, but I am not him. She takes me for granted. She left me on red, and she wonders why I left. I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone. I'm better off alone. She said that she would change, but the way that you are is the way that you'll stay. I told you that I was better off, and you showed me that I was right all along. Oh, you know I'm not perfect, and you said it wasn't worth it, but I am not him. I'm better off alone. I'm Sunsets on black desert sky. It's just you and I.